Direct-to-film is not that complicated. You print your images onto PET film, you apply and dry hot melt powder, and then using a heat press, you can stamp these onto virtually any material compatible. Now, did you know you should really be stocking 2 hot melting powders? Esteban here with All American Print Supply, and in today's video, we're gonna go over the true purpose and value of black DTF hot melting powder. Stay tuned for more. All right, user friendliness. Now, when we first started carrying the black hot melting powder for DTF here at All American Print Supply, that's what I thought its main purpose was. You know, from time to time, if we're working with lower grade DTF film, that film may actually suffer from poor quality anti-static layer. Now, if you're not sure what an anti-static layer is when it comes to direct-to-film, you need to get back to school and take a look at our DTF Film 101 series with an emphasis on the anti-static layer and what it does. Now, basically, if you are working with a poor quality film that has a bad anti-static layer, what may happen when you apply your printed and dried direct-to-film transfers, you may also see little specks of that powder transferring along with our graphics, which is not what we want. Especially if you are working with darker materials. Those white dots are going to be very, very visible. Now, if you are switching over to something like, say, the black hot melting powder, you're not really going to have any of those dots visible on dark materials because the dots themselves will be dark. And this will buy you some time to head over to All American Print Supply and pick up some quality DTF film that has thoroughly tested anti-static layers. Now, let's take a look at what the true actual purpose of the black DTF hot melting powder really is. All right, now the real reason we carry the black DTF hot melting powder is to fight dye migration. Have you ever worked with a garment where you felt some of the fabric color was actually showing through your transferred graphics? Well, you may not really be experiencing this with lighter color materials on dyed fabrics, such as this red. It can really be a problem sometimes. Now, if we look here into the space helmet, which should normally be a nice rich white, we can actually see a little bit of pink coming through, and that's because of the red dye in the garment that we transferred onto. Under certain heats, the dye chemical in the garment can actually sublimate the transfer from the inside out. Now, how do we fight this? The dark fabric black DTF hot melting powder has a built-in dye migration blocker. So if you are experiencing this on your dyed materials or synthetic fabrics, this will be a quick and easy way to stop that. Now we're gonna go ahead and prepare a regular transfer using the dye sublimation blocker, apply this side by side so you can see the difference, and you can say bye-bye to dye migration. Now, if you haven't worked with the black hot melting powder before, it's the same process as you would with the white. You're gonna get a nice even layer onto your film wherever there's wet ink. And because of the white overprint, it's pretty easy to see to make sure we didn't miss any of our image. And then, don't forget to flick the graphic, make sure we're not transferring any of that powder. From here, I can take it into my Phoenix curing oven, I can place this onto my conveyor dryer, or I can hover with my heat press. Let's go ahead and get this dried and applied. All right, now here we have 2 of the same images printed from the same direct-to-film printer on the same type of film, same quality settings. This one here is the white, it's traditional, which you've probably seen before in DTF. And this here is the black DTF hot melting powder, which also serves as a dye migration blocker. And here we are side by side. All right, now let's see how the dye migration blocker of the black DTF powder holds up against the white. Now, something to keep in mind as far as dye migration and direct-to-film printing. With the right amount of white ink in our overprint, you may not necessarily need black powder to fight off dye migration. With direct-to-film roll printers, such as the 16-inch L2 and the XL2 24-inch from DTF Station, because you have such control over your white ink layer, those machines do not require the use of black hot melting powder. When you're using black hot melting powder versus white, bear in mind, there may be differences in your vibrancy as the backing of your print will be varying from black to white. Now, for those running a roll-to-roll DTF full production system, it may be difficult to switch over back and forth between the white and the black hot melting powder. This is because you wouldn't want to ever mix any of these 2 elements, so cleaning out entirely all of the powder machine components that may have the old powder may take quite some time to remove to switch in the new powder. And there we have it. The dye migration blocking power of the DTF hot melting powder available at aprintsupplyco.com. You know, if you're watching this video, you're already in the right place to get the very best as far as direct-to-film printing, equipment, and supplies for yourself and your customers. But if you do have any questions on anything DTF or heat transfer pressing related, go ahead and drop those in the comment section down below. My name is Esteban, we're All American Print Supply. That's pretty much gonna wrap it up for this one. If you haven't done so already, be sure to leave a thumbs up and hit that red subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Take care.